Would you like to tell us your story?
In February of 2009, I was officially diagnosed by a neurologist with ALS. So I am beating the odds here because, as you mentioned, 2006, and I went there at that time to see a neurologist here in Anchorage. It was a 15-minute appointment, and the doctor is looking at my legs, and my nerves were twitching like a George Harrison guitar string. So the neurologist said that he was 75% sure that I had ALS and that I had 5 years to live. I think I wanted to keep the 25% of doubt. I read between the lines and I thought, well, I think he knows for sure 100%.
You said that you had seen some signs in the prior 3 or 4 years.
In April of 2006, it was springtime, and I was working at that time at the Koyana Clubhouse on 3rd and Eagle. And that was exercise. And so I went out there expecting to pick up where I left off the previous winter, but there was a change.
No more gusto.
Gusto, you can say that. It was labored, and the upper strength was something that was different. It was upper arms, shoulders, even the hands. And I guess I rationalized that this must have something to do with getting older. And then, as you mentioned, Carole, in June about 2006, I was already attending the Open Door Korean church. And at that time, I noticed that my hands were a bit thinner. So after about 4 weeks, I said I want an answer. And I was quite confident I had the gift of dreams. And what I mean by that, I could get answers through dreams on a variety of subjects. So I prayed for a diagnosis. And in 3 days, I got an answer which spelled it out, which was simply ALS.
When you spoke about the gift of dreams, and you made reference to the biblical passage, Mark 3.2,
Yes.
the man with the withered hands. Can you talk about this?
Finally met with the doctor. I just let her know that, well, I have ALS. And it was the first time that I mentioned that to anybody, so it was somewhat emotional to me. I think my voice broke, and she said, well, why do you say that? And I provided my hands for her to see. And I said, they're a lot thinner than they're supposed to be. And then I explained to her, well, I have the gift of dreams, so I just prayed for an answer, and lo and behold, I got one. And she said, well, let's try it my way. She sent me next door to get some x-rays, which I was waiting in that waiting room, and I needed something to read there, and there wasn't anything much to read except the Bible. And I thought to myself, I needed answers. So I just let my mind step back and let the Bible open itself with my hands. And where it opened up to, I began to read on the right page, and it led me to Mark 3:2. In Mark 3:2, the man with the withering hand walked up to the great physician and asked to be healed. Right away, I said, bingo, basically. That hit a chord for me, and it was immediately reassuring that I wasn't going to be forsaken, if I may say that word. And I wasn't even thinking of further answers, but I knew that the Holy Spirit would be with me during this great challenge.
So knowing that you are a long-term survivor, it's beyond years before you actually had your official diagnosis. You had sensed signs of this. So well over a decade, you have been dealing with ALS. But what I find most personally inspiring is your nobility. You embrace life. You continue with your writing endeavors. You're always making great new friendships, sharing an exuberance for life. And I know I'm not alone when I say that you are truly inspirational.
Well, thank you very much, Carole. Yeah. Some will refer that to mindfulness, that's keeping a positive attitude.
Do you have any advice to offer? 35,000 people are diagnosed yearly with this condition. Do you have any advice to offer those who are newly diagnosed? Any encouragement that you can give?
Well, as I said, there's really very few answers associated with ALS. Now, I haven't been keeping up all that much with any new research. So, to your question as to the recommendation to 35,000 is to accept assistance. And hopefully those people can micromanage their own lives and take responsibility. I went to the original doctor and said, are you Googling any of this? And I said to myself, I think I should start. And at that point, I started taking more responsibility for it. I already researched it somewhat, but
Gaining knowledge is important.
indeed it is, Carole, yes.
And you also navigated your life. We're moving out of an apartment with stairs into a place that's handicap accessible.
Even getting here, each step of the way sort of, to me, is a little bit of a miracle in which I have a life, go downtown and stuff. Thank you.